Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another movie review. That's right. I liked it, did it twice. Thought it was so nice, and we did it twice. I don't remember what would that even be called? Anyways, let's restart that. Yep, that's right. If you could tell by the title and the thumbnail, I saw the movie Napoleon. That's right, directed by Ridley Scott, the man who made Aliens and a bunch of other things I can't remember because I didn't do any prep whatsoever, because that's the fun part about these videos, is that they're just me talking off the cuff and everybody likes that. I am happy to say that I walked out of the theater going, that's a pretty good movie. That's a pretty good movie. I liked it. In a year where movie releases have either been really good, mediocre at best, or just atrociously just bad, it's nice to go to the theater and watch a movie that you're not like, well, that was a masterpiece, but you're also not like, well, that was, the Marvels. And if you want to hear my thoughts on the Marvels, you can go check out 2 weeks ago's video where we do a movie review for the Marvels. Go watch it. Now, I do have some points of criticism that I want to talk about, and this could be simply because my expectations for this movie were a lot higher than other films that I saw this year. But while I enjoyed the movie and do think that it is worth the watch, I was kind of let down in a couple aspects, and I guess we'll get into that before we get into the good. I believe that the biggest problem with this movie is that it's actually too short. And I know that may be shocking because it's like, 2 hours, 37 minutes long, including the credits? I thought it was gonna feel like a lot longer movie, but the pacing in this movie, while each scene is very slow, the pacing of the movie writ large is breakneck speed. And I feel that the film suffers from this greatly. There are hardly any establishing shots, and I know I'm gonna say that, and people are gonna be like, actually, it was there. Okay, I get it. There may have been establishing shots, but what do I mean by this? What I mean is that I never felt like there was time to breathe in between scene transitions. It just, scene happens, it ends, and on to the next scene, and it happens, and it ends, and on to the next scene, and it happens, and it ends. And while films like Oppenheimer can get away with doing this, and we talked about that in our Oppenheimer Barbie review. You can also go check that out. But the difference here being, I don't think this works tonally for the film, and also I don't think it serves the theme of it. And so what we're left with is just something that feels really rushed. And I don't even mean on the production level. I mean, the production was great. What I'm talking about is the actual story just felt like I was boom, 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 just going to the next bit of information until we get to the battle scenes. And so I felt really lacking in terms of, connecting with any of the characters. The two leads of the film, Napoleon and his wife, oh god damn it, I just saw the movie. How do I not remember her name? Penelope? Priscilla? What was her name? Josephine. While the two leads of the film are Napoleon and Josephine, and we do spend a lot of time with them in the film, I feel that their characterization doesn't really expand beyond their relationship. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that I don't know who these people are outside of their kind of fucked up relationship. And by kind of, I mean pretty fucked up. I get a better sense for Napoleon because he's just kind of an egotist, right? I understand that. We see that in his actions. We see that in his words. That all works. But I don't really know anything about Josephine other than she lost her husband, and now she kind of likes Napoleon, but then kind of despises him, but at the end misses him. I guess 15 years of marriage will do that, but I don't know anything about her. And so when she dies at the end, and I understand this is based in history, so I shouldn't be shocked by anything that happens, but when she dies in the end, I don't really feel anything because I only know her in relation to Napoleon. I don't know who she is at all. I don't even get a bit of personality from her other than she doesn't want to have sex. Probably that's what the acting was telling me, but then she's she gets into it. Feel really weird talking about that, but yeah. I don't know. I could have been reading the acting wrong. That's very possible. Again, I didn't feel connected to either of the two leads, especially Josephine. And again, that all goes back to pacing. There's one conversation, and you hear it in the trailers a bunch, where he's like, I am nothing without you. It's kind of a callback to a previous scene, but the problem is it's a callback to literally the previous scene, where it just inverts what he tells her, because he's using domination and power over her, saying, you're nothing without me. And then in the exact next scene, when she's wearing the same clothes, which I can take it to mean it's just a few hours later, she says, you're nothing without me, and he has to repeat it back to her. I feel like that would have been a nice revelation to come back to, like, in the next act. I don't feel like there was any room to breathe with these ideas. I don't feel like there was any setup of Napoleon's belief of himself, only for that to have to morph into something that's twisted by this love and then creates him into Emperor Napoleon, right? I don't know. Like, again, I understand you're dealing with history, so you can't do too much in terms of that, but at the end of the day, it's a movie, and you need to give your characters some motivation, and I don't know. I don't feel like anything was really developed. But again, those are really my two big problems, is that the pacing, and because of the pacing, it's the lack of characterization. There are a lot of people in this movie who have names, who have lines, and I don't really know anything about any of them at all. Even the recurring characters, they're just pieces to, move the plot along. And I think that can work thematically, because Napoleon being kind of just a dominating person, but I don't think it paid off in any way. And I don't know, like at the Battle of Waterloo, there's like the lieutenant guy that's with him, and I don't even know if I've seen him before. And I was like, why didn't they just choose to have it be like his brother or something? Where was his brother? And again, they're all white people about the same age, pretty much looking exactly the same. And it's like I was losing track of who was who. And again, I understand that is my fault, but at the same time, like you gotta do better if that's the case. I've said enough about the bad. Let's talk about the good. While I'm not a huge fan of the color palette of this film, because it is what I call the Netflix color palette, which is gray and just completely desaturated, I will say the cinematography, very, very pretty. And the battle scenes in particular, ooh, man, talk about like being able to see action and feel the tension and just understand kind of what's going on in terms of these formations of people. This is back when the way you fought battles on land was basically just lining a bunch of people up and shooting until you win or lose. And you really understand the geography of the spaces, and it communicates that clearly and yet intensely as well. And the battle scenes are great. The particular one that stands out to me is the one where he's fighting the Austrians, I think, maybe the Russians, maybe both, actually, right before the burning of Moscow. And that was a highlight. The Battle of Waterloo as well, also very, very good. I did enjoy that a lot. I mean, really, there's not too much to say other than I think that they did things very effectively. I saw this on IMAX, and it definitely utilized the screen a lot. There was so much space around Napoleon on almost all of his shots, where you really, again, especially on IMAX, you feel that there is more around him than there is of him, which I think kind of plays into the theme. And again, I could be reaching with that, but if I'm not reaching with that's pretty damn cool. But also, I think the way that the story plays out, again, while I think it is rushed in a lot of areas, and I'd be very excited to see a director's cut of this that's probably bordering on 3 hours long, where they can kind of flesh things out a little bit better, let me sit with some of these emotions, maybe re-edit some of the scenes so that they aren't completely sequential. I think the theme of the film of this domineering person having no control over aspects of his life is really interesting. You know, he doesn't really have control over his wife. She cheats on him when he leaves. He doesn't have control over the ability to create an heir. He doesn't actually have control over his own emperorship. And then at the Battle of Waterloo, he loses entirely, right? And for a person who values being the master of everything, I think seeing what he can't control and how that affects him is the most interesting part of the film. And again, I wish they just kind of delved into that a little bit more. I wish we could have seen him really react to these things a lot more. You know, we got some good scenes where he did, but again, I wish that had been the focus of it and put the battles in because I thought they looked cool. But hey, you know, at the end of the day, it's a good movie to go watch. It's definitely a theater movie. Please, for the love of God, go see this movie because it is a movie directed by Ridley Scott, starring Joaquin Phoenix, and it doesn't have any goddamn superheroes in it, okay? Please go see this fucking movie. It's super late here for me. That's why I'm kind of low energy today, and I apologize for so much swearing. But again, it is important that people go see this movie. If you like movie theaters at all, you need to go support films that aren't just the MCU. And if you don't do that and you say that you like going to the movies, then have fun for the next 5 years, because otherwise they're not going to be around. But that's just my pessimism talking. But hey, you know, like Forrest Gump said, that's all I have to say about that. And we look forward to seeing you in the last month of the year of 2023. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out. Plenty of video essays coming in to the next year. So if you want to hit the old like button on this video and the old subscribe button, that would help us out a lot. We would love to be able to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be really cool for us. But with that, I've been Kyle, and I still am. And go watch a movie in a movie theater. Just go do that. Okay? You can do it. I promise. His name was Bonaparte because they were apart when they boned, because they boned other people. And it's thematically linked